everyone. Welcome to the Wisdom of Connection podcast. So today I have the pleasure of having with me L and Dizzo, that are the owners of the Body of Wealth. And they'll tell you a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But today we're going to really be delving in. We're going to talk some real truth about what's happening in the world today. But not just focusing on that, but how do we navigate all that's happening, right? When people are more disconnected than ever, where there's worry, there's anxiety and uncertainty. And so what does it really mean to have a body of wealth in these times? So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm your host, Latice Hairston. We're so glad to have you with us. The Wisdom Connection is really about that, is we'll be talking to different people about their stories and their journeys and the wisdom that they've really tapped into to live abundantly, spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially, even sexually, relationally, in every area of their lives. So that's what this particular podcast is all about. But today we want to dive right in. I want to give you both an opportunity to introduce yourselves and just say whatever you want to say to those who might not know you.
I'm Dizzo. I'm the founder of the Body of Wealth. We've been in business about 12 years now, along with my co-partner here, co-owner here. And yeah, I'll let her say who she is before we dive in.
Yeah.
Because I've been going forever.
I'm Coach L, co-owner of the Body of Wealth. I actually started off as a client. A lot of people don't know that. Maybe they do. But yeah, that's all I got.
So, when we talk about all the things that are happening in the world today, I just want to start out. What are some of the things that you're hearing from those that you serve? And in that, just talk a little bit about what you do and your mission, and because you're not when you think about a gym, you're not just a gym. Right. But what are some of the things that you're hearing from your clients and what people might be struggling with today?
I would say a lot that's going on in the world right now is like high anxiety, a little more stress, mental illnesses, more depression. Mm-hmm. And I think that's been like the talk of the community for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
I mean, and I think people are having a hard time, especially where they get their information from, right? Mm-hmm. They're turning to social media and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, and I think a lot of that is designed to stir up a lot of confusion with people right now. So we always tell people that, you want to be part of a community, and this is what the Body of Wealth is all about. Be part of a community that's faith-based, that believe in following God, working out, working on your mental health, right? We hear people that are really anxious about their finances because of the way the world is working today. Yeah. So it seems like people are being attacked from every angle right now. So our goal, our mission is to get people in the house here and for one, working out. It's going to help you with stress, it's going to help you with anxiety, it's going to help you with depression. And then after that, it's not just about the physical aspect of it. We're also talking about, being connected spiritually, working on your mental health, right? Meditation, right? I think we're in a busy world where people are just constantly going. They don't have time to just be still and just let me reflect on this past week. How's my life been going? I don't think we're seeing that enough. And that's what we're bringing to the community, right? We want people it's okay to just be still. We talk about that all the time. Yeah. And you're like, you're constantly on go mode. You don't have time to really think, time to reflect, on life. And that's what we're seeing. So we want to come and kind of just bring them here and teach them to be still, kind of work on those things. So,
So say a little bit more about the Body of Wealth and what that means. I know you touched on it, but what does it really mean to have a body of wealth, even in the times of stress and anxiety and things like that? What is body of wealth actually? What does that actually mean?
I just want people to think of this community where we all come together, we share these ideas, we talk about our challenges, we talk about whatever it is that's bothering us. And that's what the body wealth is. Just think of a tree branches, right? We're coming together, we're all connected, and we're all bringing these issues and ideas together and say, how can we navigate this together? I think it's very challenging for me, growing up in my community where you didn't have much help because everybody was struggling. But now we have created a place where people can come to and say, listen, I know y'all don't have it all together, but I like the way y'all trying to figure it out, right? You're leading me to scripture. You're telling me what to eat. You're telling me how to work out. And then we're touching on the finances as well, because I like to believe that if your money is funny, your mind ain't right, and then that's going to stir up a whole lot of issues in your life as well. So that's it. The body of wealth is not just your average gym; it's a sanctuary, right? That's what the body of wealth is. So when people come here, I like to say that people are, coming in, they're stressed, but they're leaving feeling uplifted, right? And they tell us all the time, say, "Hey, man, I was facing depression, I was struggling with this and struggling with that, and I came to the body of wealth, and you just really changed my perspective about life." That's who we are. That's what we do, right? So we want to continue to do that, and I think they need places like this.
Yeah. I love that concept when you talk about, I remember when you first told me about this, the concept of sanctuary, right? I'll ask you about this, is that when you think about sanctuary, what does that mean for you?
A safe place.
Safe place.
I like that. Yes.
It's a safe place.
Yeah.
And support. I feel like there's a lot of support when you come to a sanctuary. So, and that's what I feel like we have in our community as well. And it doesn't have to just be in the physical aspect. We're like a village, you know what I mean? Like we take care of one another. We have our beau babies that come in here, and we help families when they need to come in here and bring the kids in. They can still come in here and work on themselves, and we tend to those children as well. But I feel like that's what it means to me.
Yeah, a safe place, and a place, a haven. When you think about that, a place, a haven. So let's talk a little bit more and dig a little bit more into that. This idea of how we can create community, how we can create safe spaces, how we can create havens. What does that take, and what does that entail? I mean, because it's beyond just a place.
Right.
How do you create sanctuary? Because this is for people, yes, they might come to the body of wealth, but how do they do that out in their homes? How do they do that within the community? How do they do that with other people who might not ever come to the body of wealth?
True.
Yeah.
To me, I think a lot of it starts with, for me, it would be trust, right? I need to trust that community, trust the leaders that are in that community, right? I think that's so important. I think for us, leading by example, when people see that, they're like, you know what, you guys do what you say. And I think that's how we're able to form this community, because people see it. Like, we're not perfect, but the goal is to lead by example, say, hey, we exercise, we do our meditation, we eat healthy food. And this is a place we can come to. People, give us information that they probably don't even give their family members. That's deep. That's a lot of trust, right? To be like, I trust you with this information. And I think that's how you do that. Within their homes, though, I think you have to be the change you want to see. You have to be that in your home, right? I tell parents all the time, if you want to create this environment in your home, you have to be the change, right? The kids will follow you. Your spouse will follow you. And if they don't, jump on board right away, I just say you keep the faith and you just keep going. So that's what I teach. I say, hey, everybody might not be on board right now, but trust me, they're watching you, right? So it has to start with someone, right? We talk about paying it forward, and that's just what it's about to me.
Yeah. So I love that when you say we need to be the change. So talk to all of us about how are you presently. I know you've made some changes, even how the days and how you do that, but I want you to talk because you didn't start here.
No.
None of you. No. I mean, I know none of us started there, right? No. And so what has the journey been like to be what you like? You know what I'm saying? Just to really embody what you're trying to show to others. What has that journey been like? Not that you've arrived, right, but to be on this journey where you started and where you are now. What did that take?
A lot of teachable moments for me. And then just the willingness to want to change. You have to embrace that change. And I think for me, I struggled with that because I felt like I was fine where I was, and I stunted my own growth because I felt like I didn't need any other guidance. So when I finally came to that point where I was like, you know what, I have to change because the people around me are not able to evolve if I'm not evolving. And so when I was able to actually like encompass that, I was like, okay, but I'm starting to see those changes. Like the better I am, the better the people around me are, you know? So, and I got that from him because he's the reason why I'm able to, wake up in the morning, and before I step out of bed, I pray, and then I go into my devotional, and then I meditate on that devotional, and then I bring that word to the community. So, yeah, that's it.
That's really good.
Yeah.
But even shifting and taking the time out in the midst of whatever might be going on in your life, right?
Prioritizing that.
Yeah, prioritizing.
Yeah.
I always think about it as we're always practicing something.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so what are you practicing? Things that are bringing you peace and joy, right?
And
or are you practicing
fulfillment.
things that are helping you, right? Or are you practicing things, right? Are you practicing negative thoughts?
Right.
Right.
Are you somewhere in the future
Right.
thinking about all the
Already.
things
Exactly.
that could go wrong? Right? And so it sounds like just being in some stillness
Yeah.
and what you meditate, you put in your mind. Often people think about meditation like you clear your mind.
Yeah. No.
No. But for those who are like read the Bible and things like that, the word meditate appears hundreds of times in the Bible, right? Because sometimes people are like, I don't know about that meditating, right? But what benefits, what are you seeing happening and changing and shifting and helping you to have a better life, really?
It's just more calmness within, I
Yes.
want to say. And then just the courage to actually speak about how I'm feeling and then passing that on. Like you said, you pay it forward. So like my lessons that I'm learning in this process, I'm able to pay it forward. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, good. What about you, Diz?
First, I want to address the practice part. You're so right. Whether we know it or not, we're practicing something.
Always.
Like, you're always practicing, right? So I want people to know, like, listen, you don't even have to think about it, but you are practicing something.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing. Whether you pop open that app every single day, you're on Facebook or you're on TikTok first thing in the morning. And more times than not, we're approached with negativity on that app. As soon as I pop, I'm like, oh, Lord, you know what? Forgive me. Let me get off this app. let me start praying, because that's what we're seeing, right? We're bombarded with information. And that's what we see. So that's one thing I had to learn to do, and still doing it. I don't want y'all to think perfect. Like sometimes I still get caught popping that app open. First, I would like to say that sometimes we don't have those role models. Like, we grew up in these environments where you just don't see the stuff, right? We're always in that survival mode. And I get it, it's hard for a lot of people. And that's one of the reasons I think, communities like this are so instrumental, right, to growth and to becoming a better version of yourself, because we often don't see it in our community. Like, we see all the negativity, alcoholism, abuse, all of the trauma stuff that we experience in our life. It's not easy. So I will say, sometimes you're going to take a few steps back before you go forward. So I don't want you to think that's failure, right? Because you're going to face some challenges. And that's what I like to give people, that perspective, is that you're going to face something, right? You're going to go through something, but just keep going forward. Keep going through it. And that's how I got over the hump. And I always like to go back to things in my life where things were really hard. And I'm like, God, you got me through that.
Right.
You got me through that. So wait a minute. So you told me you got me through this, that. Okay, okay, cool. This is how it goes. So once I started, connecting back, giving God thanks. Thanksgiving is everything. Once I started thanking God for helping me get through that, and then I just had the courage to keep going. Not being afraid of failure, not being afraid of hard things in my life. And I think that's what got me through. And that's what we're trying to give to our community. Say, hey, guys, there's going to be something going on in your life. Just keep going. Yeah. That's it. We just can't stop. Right?
Yeah, that's wonderful when you think about that. You know, I heard gratitude,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
I also heard not just holding things to yourself, but how can my story, right? How where I've been, the practices I put in place, how can I use that to help someone else? That goes right back to the wisdom of connection.
yes. Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. Yep.
And so, so many times we might try to go it alone,
Yeah.
right? We hear those things like, you know, grind, do what you got to do, keep it moving, all those things. And so many people are really suffering in silence, trying to be this idea of being strong.
Yeah.
And that strength has been about not feeling, disconnecting, holding things in, and how that actually harms us. Can you talk a little bit about maybe how you've seen that or how that's even played out in your own lives?
So yes, personally in my own life, that's everything that you said pretty much resonated with me because that's how my exterior was. I was very hard. I wouldn't ask for help. I'd do everything on my own. I'd push back if anybody tried to change me. So that was a tough time for not just me, but for us because it played a part in our relationship. And I feel like since we have been able to get over that hump, and don't get it twisted, I take steps back, like he said, but I try to correct myself right away so that we don't go back to that point. You know what I mean? And I understand why those changes needed to happen because it wasn't just for me, but it was for him and everyone around me too. Yeah. Because the way that I show up in this lifetime, I want people to see more than just that exterior, that hard exterior that I grew up knowing was supposedly, you being strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And how has that? So actually what I'm hearing is the redefinition of strength.
Yes.
Right.
I like that.
That's what I'm hearing, a redefinition of strength. How has that allowed you to have a new kind of strength?
How has it allowed me to have a new kind of strength?
Not that hard shell, but yeah.
The softer side of me?
Yeah. That's like a song or something.
How has it helped me? I feel like it helped me blossom. You know what I mean? Like into a better woman. Yeah. I'm walking into my womanhood now.
Ooh, I like that. I'm walking into the womanhood.
And I think it shines through me externally. You know what I mean? Like a lot of things that I kept in, I'm releasing, and it's helping me be a better person overall. You know what I mean? So
that's beautiful. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So how can we in community and model that and show up to help? That's beautiful, to help our communities blossom into their womanhood, their manhood, well, however they identify, but really stand strong in who they are, but then who we are connected to. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
No, and I'll speak to that as well because I'm on the outside. I'm actually seeing her become more confident, even within our relationship. Saying, come here, babe, let me pray for you. Those are things she wouldn't do before. Not feeling confident enough to do that. And I'm like, yo, you got this gift about you. People gravitate to you. God has given you something. Like, don't be afraid. Like, I can be taught, right? We're in this together to be teaching each other. So I am seeing that more, or asking for help, where Elle didn't do that. And I'm not even joking. Like, one time it was an Amazon package. This joint was so heavy, right? And I could see it on the Ring camera. This joint heavy. So I get home. I'm like, yo, you got that box in the house? She's like, yeah, babe, I'm strong. And all I could do was just laugh, right? Because that was just Elle. I'm like, this is girl. If I be like, yeah, I'll come back and help you with that later, she might build a whole cabinet, nail it on the wall. And the thing is, I don't stop her from doing any of that. It's not feeling insecure. I said, babe, you're going to build it on the wall. Go ahead and build it. But now I am seeing her asking for help. And it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to ask for help. Strength in numbers, right? We're stronger together than apart. So I'm seeing that in her a lot more, and I'm so proud of her for that, for sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So I heard stepping into womanhood. I want to go to you, Diz, because I've often seen with men, right? Not expressing emotions, not like that. All that. Yeah. So, what would you say to the men?
Oh,
Specifically, what would you say to the men when we talk about
listen, this is so important. That she knows I talk, so I'm
He's the
talker.
talker.
You know I'm a talker. But I wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
It was a traditional.
Speak directly.
You're
to
right.
them. Talk to the men. Talk to them.
It was the mindset of the traditional man. Like, we don't express our emotions. We don't talk about what's bothering us. And I think that takes us into a dark place sometimes, where you now feel like it's just me against the world. You don't ask for help. I was like that. In every sense of the word, I was the epitome of the man. Like, we don't ask for help. We don't need anybody to do anything for us. And I had to learn, even delegating responsibilities. I didn't even do that. I'm Superman. I do it all on my own. And I was burning out, y'all. Yeah. It was causing more stress. I was more irritable. I'm yelling more. And I wasn't creating a team environment at all. In fact, it was putting a wedge between us to make it go further. But not just here. We're talking about my family. We talk about the community, where I didn't feel vulnerable enough to express my emotions. I wasn't taught that, right? Don't tell people your business. You're a man. Boys don't cry. All of those things. And we're trapped in this box. But it wasn't until I started reading more, praying more, asking God to show me the way. I wanted to be vulnerable, but didn't know how to do it. Because when you grow up around your boy, you can't be soft. You can't be soft, man. No, man, we don't do that, man. But it literally changed my life. I don't think I would be running this business with her right now if I wasn't willing to be open and express myself the way I do today. I'm not even afraid to shed a tear. People are like, oh, men shouldn't cry. Man, I'm going to shed a tear, right? Because I still believe in my leadership. I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. So I'm not insecure in a way where I don't feel like I'll shed a tear if I'm feeling in that, feeling like that in that moment. So yeah, I believe men need to open up more. It allows her to see another side of me, and it's just an amazing feeling to see what we've grown into now. So.
And I love what you said, what we've grown into now. And that seems to be a theme, right? Like stepping into womanhood, right? And really trying to get to what has been the steps and the journey to actually get here. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because a lot of people are like, yeah, I see you now. You're saying that now. But what did it take? Right?
For me, I'm a mirror talker, talking to myself. I truly believe I had to, accountability is a huge word. I had to be accountable for my actions. I felt like a lot of my ways stemmed from what I've seen growing up, in my family, from my father, and my tongue. Oh man, the tongue is powerful. You can say some things that can really, hurt people, right? So that was our weapon growing up.
Yes.
And the steps was, y'all, like looking in the mirror, talking to myself. Praying, asking God to, first of all, remove that from my tongue, the way I would talk, right? Yeah. Just to belittle and say, things that would just make people feel shallow. I had to change that. Like, those were the steps for me. Talking to myself in the mirror, man, tears rolling down my face. Like, I want change. I don't want to be this person anymore. And then reading books. I started doing things. I always tell people faith without works is dead. Like, you actually have to put the work in. And that was some of the steps I did. Looking in the mirror, holding myself accountable, talking to myself, then reading books. And then practicing, right? I used to be in like meetings and communities, wouldn't say a word. I didn't feel confident. And I just started speaking up. So those were my steps to actually making change. And I think, like I said before, you have to be the change if you want to see change, right? So I started doing those. Those were my steps to changing. Looking in that mirror, the mirror talk is real, ain't it?
Yeah, it's real. So,
excuse me.
Coming back, because I know we're going to be wrapping up shortly, but coming back to community. coming back to the reality of uncertainty, to worry, to anxiety. A lot of that is happening. And so, what would you say to people about how do you, I know you talked about role modeling and things like that, but how, in terms of like what wisdom would you want to leave people with around the creation of community and connection and how to support each other during these here times now?
That's a good one.
I think stepping into, for one, you want to be part of a faith-based community. It could be a church, right? You want to go to church. Networking with like-minded people. Like if you're not there yet, you definitely want to get into circles where people are stepping up and stepping out, and people that know how to navigate through challenges, right? Like you're one of the people I met in my life. This is why I think too, and I'm going to give you your flowers as well, that helped me big time, challenging me, right? Because sometimes you may be the one in the community and you're doing all the speaking, you're teaching, and you ain't got nobody in that group to challenge you. The teacher be like, hold on, wait a minute. All right, come on, Tease. It's like, yeah, no. But I think that is so important because if you're like always trying to be the big chief in a room and a bunch of Indians and no one's coming to challenge you, and I thank you for that because that was part of my change. So many books you told me to read, challenging me on just the way men think. Everything you've done helped change me as well. So I say that, get part of a community where people are challenging you, right? People don't get into groups where a bunch of people agree with you. You know, I'd be like, yeah, girl, you're right, man. That's the worst. Instead of you like, hold on a minute.
Yeah, and at the end, everybody feels worse.
Right. You made me feel better in that one.
Or let us go get a drink.
Right.
You're already depressed.
Right.
And the alcohol's a depression. And then y'all talking about what's wrong, what didn't happen, what's gonna happen. And you left worse than you came in.
That's the worst.
Right.
But that was the routine. And not even knowing it, right?
So I think that's important because I think you talk about your spiritual leaders, therapists, all the people you like. And sometimes we look at therapy as a negative thing, but even if you just like an arm to a therapist just to kick it with them and learn new concepts and ideas, like, I didn't think of it that way. So I think that's very important to do as well.
Yeah. So as we begin to wrap up and we're talking about, so maybe many of you say, I don't have community. So let's just end with, and by the way, hit share, because other people will need to hear this and we'll have other things, but just talk about what's going to be coming to bring other people into the community to talk more and dive more. Like we're just hitting a little bit of these things, right? So what is going to be coming and what's going to be happening to support the community even more?
Absolutely. We're definitely going to be talking about finances, not in the way that you think. And Latiz has a very creative way of talking about finances and everything. So we'll talk about that, talk about, mental well-being, spiritual growth, and all of that good stuff. This is my dog. She got some stuff for us, and we roll.
Well, it's us.
It's us. But no, that's what she gonna listen. She gonna challenge me, and I gotta go back and I gotta go think about this stuff. But yes, so we're going to have a lot of things coming up for you, and we're excited about that.
Yeah, and we're gonna be diving in to what it is to mean in connection. How do we connect with ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, relationally? We even gonna be talking about sexually and how do we have healthy sexual relationships, right? And because in order to do that, we want to do this in community.
Absolutely.
We have always been everything. So much healing happens in community, and when one is feeling a little weak, we're like, I got you.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And so, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
And thank you. And stay tuned to more of the wisdom of connection.
What is that Sawabona thing? I love it.
Sawabona. Sawabona means it's a greeting that means we see you.
Yes.
And we see you as you are.
We see you.
And that's what we see all of you, and this is all for you. So thank you.